All right. What's going on, everybody? Just coming back with a real talk video. My title says JT talks about thug life. Thug life. Now, let me say this off top because those that know me, y'all know a lot of times I do real talk videos. So, this is not going to be your King James Bible video here. I'm not going to talk about the Bible. I'm just going to have a little real talk video, and I believe that this video is very well needed right about now. And it hurts my heart to see so many teenagers now and little children who are asking so many questions about this, the Trayvon Martin thing and George Zimmerman, which is so sad. And I saw one kid ask his mama, he said, "Mama, I can't even go to the store no more because it's a possibility I could get shot. If I want to go to the store and give me some candy, I can't do that no more." And a lot of kids and teenagers now have so many questions. I was talking to my boy Billy yesterday outside, and his 10-year-old, I think he's 11 now, he was asking me so many questions about, why did that guy shoot Trayvon Martin? And it just, my flesh was just boiling, man, because to see the children hurting, and now you got all these postings on YouTube now with these hoodies on, and some of them just totally disrespecting Trayvon's parents. Man, they don't even need to see this type of stuff. It's too frightening to look at it. It brings up too many memories. I mean, and the parents want peace, y'all. They want peace. And I wish some of us could understand that and stop posting certain things and just making matters worse than it is. But I want to talk to the youngsters for a moment. Now, I'm going to say one word in here, and I'm going to say this off top so you can already be, alarmed ahead of time. I'm going to use the word fuck, F-U-C-K. Now, you don't have to agree with me. Some of y'all want to put me in hell for that. Go ahead and do what you got to do. I care less. Because I want to explain thug life the way Tupac really explained it. Because a lot of people will call you a thug or say you living a thug life, but I don't think a lot of people understand is when Tupac said the word thug life, as he had it tattooed on him, it stood for the hate, the hate you give little infants fucks everybody. Now, the hate you give. Now, let's think about this, y'all. Now, I know it's a little harsh on the language, but don't act like you ain't never heard this word or said it before. It says the hate you give little infants fucks everybody. Tupac said this, and it stuck to me. And I thought about the hate that you give little infants. What you put in them growing up, it turns into a bunch of hate. And when there is hate, everybody is fucked. This is what Tupac is saying. Now, we can look at these George Zimmerman trials, and just like I said earlier, another 13-year-old young man was shot because neighbor thought he was going to rob him. He was black also, shot by a white man. Now, we can sit up here once again and act like hatred is gone. And a lot of people don't hate you for the color of your skin, but we got to be real, y'all. It's still hatred in this land. It's still prejudice in this. Racism has never left. So I think about when Tupac said this, and then I think about how many people grew up with so much hatred inside of them. And young people, trust me, all this walking around talking about I want to be a thug, I want to be like the rappers, I want to be a gangster, I want to make that money, I want the bling bling, the women, the big houses, the cars. Trust me, you don't even understand what comes with that lifestyle. See, you see the TV, you see cable, and you see the internet, and you see this lifestyle that looks so beautiful, but you don't see what comes behind that. You don't see the struggles, and you don't see what they got to do to maintain what they got. So when I look at this word thug and thug life, you have to be careful when you labeling people a thug. Now, let's just be real. Most people are going to judge you for what you have on. They're going to look at your outside appearance. They judge the way you look. They do. And if you got a hoodie on or a do-rag on, you know, most people are going to say, yep, he ain't nothing but a thug. Them old little thug niggas down there, them little thug niggas. They ain't nothing but thugs, little gangsters. Well, like I say, Tupac was very misunderstood. Now, I'm not saying in this video Tupac was perfect, because Lord knows we know he wasn't perfect. JT ain't perfect. None of y'all was perfect. None of us. But Tupac was misunderstood so much. But Thug Life, once again he stated, stood for the hate you give little infants fucks everybody. And a lot of people don't understand that right there. Because Tupac lifestyle, the way he was brought up, rough, and what he saw, the violence, mom on crack, you name it, he lived it. And that's what separates him from a lot of these rappers now. I'm not saying some of these rappers ain't went through nothing or haven't lived a life like Tupac, because a lot of them have. But what I'm saying is what Tupac rapped about, he lived it. He had a meaning for everything. A lot of these people rapping now are just perpetrating. They perpetrating on a lot of stuff. This man pretty much could back up everything he was rapping about because he lived it. Now, a thug is not a gangster, according to the way Tupac explained this. See, let me talk about Tupac's definition of a thug. Thug life. Now, his definition, y'all just keep with me. His definition of a thug was somebody who is going through struggles, that have went through struggles, and continues to live day by day with nothing for them. They go through and they live day by day. They have pretty much accepted what they're going through, the lifestyle. Now, if I go by this definition right here, I can consider myself a thug. Because I got struggles. I have went through struggles. And I live day by day. I have accepted the way I was brought up. See, it's not about where you come from, it's about where you're going. I don't dwell on where I come from, but I am looking at where I'm headed, where I'm going. But I have to know where I come from to know where I'm going. I wasn't brought up in the easy life, my brothers and sisters. I lived in a hooded out area that was just straight thugged out and gangster, as you want to call it, the hood. Nothing good was really in the hood a lot of times. It was more killing, it was more stealing, more robberies, more gang violence, more everything. So I went through struggles, you went through struggles, but you continue to live day by day. This is Tupac's definition of thug. Now, most people are going to say a thug is a gangster. So if I use that definition to say I'm a thug, do that mean, JT, you a gangster? No. I done a lot of things in my life, but I would never call myself a gangster. See, Tupac had a different meaning. And he said this after he came out of jail, where he was reading a lot about God. I don't know if y'all know this a lot, but I know some of y'all was too religious to listen to some of his music, but Tupac always recognized God. And like I say, he wasn't perfect. He even said his big mouth. He talked about his big mouth. He said a lot of things he said he should have never said. He should have never put in his lyrics. He should have never done. Well, I can turn around and say the same thing. I have said some things I know I'm not proud of. I have done a whole lot of things I know I'm not proud of. But that does not make me a gangster. You have done some things that you know you're not proud of. Truth be told, it's some things that we're going to go to our grave with. Things we wouldn't even tell our own mama. It's some things we didn't even want to tell God that we done, even though God already knew. So when you look at this word thug and thug life, do you feel me just a little bit? Like I said, I'm not doing this video to take up for Tupac and say Tupac didn't have no bad ways. Now Tupac showed us his good side and the side that people didn't understand, and he could really just go off if he needed to. Well, I'm gonna let you in on something. I got a bad side too. Piss me off if you think I'm lying. And I can tell you all day that I pray, I read the word, but I'm still flesh. If you piss me off the wrong way, see, I could be rubbed the wrong way. But you know what I learned? When I let people rub me the wrong way, they just rubbing that shine out of me. I'm gonna shine. I've learned to stop being ignorant, and I don't flare off like I used to growing up when my attitude was crazy. Now God has touched me and changed me, and my attitude is totally different. But that old JT can still be resurrected. That's why I don't like when people test me. I ain't forgot where I came from. I ain't forgot how rough it is. I ain't forgot how to cuss you out. I still know the words. You do too. Some of y'all just too holy, but not to jump off and all that. So when you sit around and say Trayvon Martin was a thug, I don't see that. I don't see that at all. See, when I grew up, K-Ray, all of us from the hood, plenty times we was called all them little old thug niggas. Here come them thugs because of what we had on. What you got on. Not about your actions, but what you got on. You are judged because you look gangster. Plenty times I done been called something that I'm not. And when you grow up being called all these names, people stereotype you and all this stuff. A lot of times it'll go to your head and you start becoming what you think you are and what they tell you. Oh, little nigga, you hood. You gangster. I wasn't nobody gangster, but I wasn't nobody punk neither. See, Tupac was very wise to me. Now, I'm just talking about to me. I don't know what y'all beliefs is. Tupac was very wise, and he had so much knowledge on so many things, but he was very misunderstood. Now, somebody gonna say, well, JT, I disagree with you on that because look at the way Tupac lived and what he was doing. He was gangster a lot of time. Well, believe what you want to believe. But when I look at Tupac's heart, big heart, especially with children and people, he loved people. We can sit up and say, well, look at how he lived. I wouldn't call that man wise, JT. He wasn't wise at all. Well, let me flip this around. Let's look at another man in the Bible who was very wise. God gave him an understanding heart. God was so pleased that when God asked him what did he want, he was so pleased at the answer that Solomon gave him, because Solomon knew that he had to lead the people. And he knew that by leading that he was going to need some wisdom. Well, Tupac in so many ways was leading a lot of people. And people don't teach you this about Tupac, but Tupac helped a lot of thugs change their lifestyle. He reached more youngsters than a lot of preachers would because he wasn't condemning them. He knew how it was growing up. Plenty of people I know say, man, I changed my life because of, man, I listened at this Tupac song or what Tupac was saying, and then when he started talking about God, I started finding out who God was. So I can also say Tupac led some folks to Christ. But to get back on Solomon, look at the man with all the wisdom. And look at the long run. God told Solomon, don't mess with them certain type of women. And look what he did. In the long run, Solomon's heart got turned from God. Now that's bad. For God to give you wisdom, but we got to also understand, God gave us free will too. Gave Solomon all that wisdom. And somebody going to say, well, he wasn't all that wise. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. You know what I say? I always say it like this. You can have a lot of wisdom and still make some stupid decisions. You can have all the wisdom in the world and make some stupid decisions. Let's keep it real, y'all. So I can say Tupac was a wise man. See, when you think about what he saw growing up, what he done, look at his mother, his stepfather, and then he always talked about the Black Panthers and the gangs. See, this is what Tupac was talking about, police brutality. See, if you ain't never had a chance to sit down with a gangster, Crips, Bloods, somebody who lived a rough lifestyle. You might not feel me in this video. If you didn't grow up, you know, I'm talking about talking to true Crips and people that's locked up behind bars and been locked up, who can tell you where it originated from. Tupac talked about police brutality a lot. Now let's go back to the I guess we can say the early 80s and 90s and police brutality is still to this day it's worse than ever. And this is, I'm gonna tell you something about Crips. We know Crips and Bloods. Let me tell you something about Crips. I ain't talking about something I heard, I'm talking about something I know. If you ever could talk to a real Crip, they would tell you that they did not start up the gangs to terrorize the communities, but they started up the gangs to protect them from police brutality. Why do you think the Black Panthers got started? It never was supposed to be all this black on black crime, but we see when money, the love of money comes on the scene, when drugs get involved, when all this crooked, illegal stuff comes and had it, then we was destroyed. But it was never, the gangs was never put in place to terrorize the community. People started trying to find their own protection from the police. Go back to LA. Talk about Compton. But like I said, we know what happened. The drugs, the street life, it took over. Things got worse. And we've been killing each other for a long time now. I'm just trying to hip you on to a lot of stuff because we so busy judging people. But you know what I learned about people? Know them, understand them, listen at them. If we can listen at people, don't matter how crazy they talk, what they got on, where they come from, we can just try to understand a person. We can learn a lot about them. We can learn a lot about them. And I want you to go back to when you was 17, 15, 16. Go back to when you was Trayvon age. Think about when you was young and you wanted to fit in. It's just a different generation now. Pretty much all of us have wanted to fit in some point of time in our life by doing something stupid. But see, you see in this generation, the pants are sagging. They want the grills in their mouth. Youngsters want to fit in, and they'll do whatever they got to do to fit in. So I couldn't sit up and say, once again, that Trayvon was a thug. Now, when you look up the word thug, which comes from the word thuggy, thug pretty much is a common criminal who treats others violently and rough. And here goes the other thing, they can be hired to do the job. That's a thug. When you look it up in the dictionary like that. Now, like I say, I grew up rough. A lot of people, you know, that grew up with me, y'all know what I'm talking about. We was called thugs. Them little niggas over there, them little thugs running down the street. Why would you call me a thug? Because of what I got on. See, we all have done something, once again, when we was young. It could have been, what, smoking weed, getting drunk, grabbing the girl butt and then running. I give you $2, JT, if you go grab her butt. Doing something crazy to fit in with others. That's why teenagers dress the way they dress. But so many people are down in them and not trying to reach them. Instead of trying to reach them, we talking about them. This is why I'm very patient with youngsters, 17, 18 years old. When I see them on the block with their pants sagging, I don't go up and throw no Bible at them. I'm very patient, and I remember one point in time, I've done something stupid. I remember when I tried to fit in, hang with the wrong crowd, getting drunk, came home late at night, running women and hanging. I remember one time my mama locked me out for staying out too late. She said, "Ro, if you ain't home by 4 o'clock, don't come knocking on this door." And I thought mama was playing. I came home by 4:30 and mama left me out there. And from that day on, I remember mama wasn't no joke, and I didn't disrespect mama no more like that. My point is, when we are a child, we do as a child. We do childish things, but when we become a grown man, when you become a grown woman, you should put away those things. I remember getting my ears pierced and wearing jewelry, trying to look like my twin brother. trying to fit in. I wanted my ears, both of my ears pierced, so I can look and fit in. Everybody, when you gonna get your ears pierced, JT? When you gonna get a tattoo, JT? When you gonna do this? When you gonna do that? And as I got older, man, them things didn't mean nothing to me. Nothing at all. I let my ears, my ear holes close up long time ago. I quit wearing jewelry long time ago. I don't even wear a watch. I don't even care no more. I'm just focusing on what's real in life. So when we keep talking about you a thug, you gotta be careful with that. That's crazy to me. To label every black youngster a thug, and what I'm seeing on this internet now is just ridiculous. All these posters on here with these hoodies on. A hoodie do not make you a thug. I've been wearing hoodies for years, especially when it rains. I love to wear hoodies, especially in the wintertime. I love it. But do that make me a gangster? No, I'm just trying to keep my little peel head warm. Y'all feel what I'm saying? But somebody gonna look at me because I'm already black. Yep, he must sell dope or something. He got that gangster look. Let me go a little bit deeper about thugs here for a moment. When you look it up, it's also referred to a member of a religious organization of robbers and assassins. Go back to India. If you ever read or studied on India, you'll see what I'm talking about. Go back, and especially in the 1830s, I believe. See, it's a root word. It's from the word thuggy. Like I said earlier. So study on India and watch what you'll come up with. If we would just once again try to understand people, we could learn about them. Women. We talking about how we used to be at the age 17. How we try to fit in. I'm making this point again because I'm sick of folks saying Trayvon Martin was a thug. Women. How many times back in the day you tried to go somewhere, leave the house with that short skirt on and all that makeup, trying to look older than what you are, even if you had to put a little tissue in your breast? You was dressing in a way that your mama didn't approve of, and your mama wouldn't dare let you leave the house like that. But when you got out that house, you probably snuck over your homegirl house and put that makeup right back on to fit in. Made your breast probably look bigger by putting a tissue in there to fit in. Make your butt look big, but nowadays you ain't got, boy, they so developed nowadays, you ain't, it's ridiculous. These young women now looking like 35, 40-year-old women when they 15, 16 years old, 14 years old. They developing more now. But think about it, women, how many times did you try to fit in? So just because you dressed up and put on that makeup, what gives me the right to say, oh, she ain't nothing but a hoe? That's a bitch right there. She a slut. She just trying to fit in. One time in our life, we have all tried to fit in. We have. And if you can't deal with my language in this video, it's not for you. I'm sorry. We have all done something. Young men right now, let's talk about the men who are at that age, 17, 16, 15, pants sagging. They can fool you, mamas and daddies, because they can dress just right at the house. Pants up, they got the belt on. Now some of y'all let your kids leave home like that anyway, sagging and don't even care. But I'm talking about the ones that you think that might not be doing it. They can leave home looking just right, but as soon as they get to that bus stop or when they get to school, they drop their pants and they sag to do what? Fit in. They might take a little puff of the weed or the cigarette or whatever to fit in. They might do something crazy to fit in. Does that make them a gangster? Does that make them a thug? See what I'm saying? Just trying to fit in with the friends. I ain't never killed nobody a day in my life. Never. Plenty of times growing up, we done some dumb stuff then with K-Ray. But we was not no murderers. I ain't never killed nobody. So to me, the truth The true gangster in this situation was George Zimmerman. You want to call somebody a thug, just my opinion. That is just my opinion. I'm going to call George Zimmerman a thug. The thug will kill you, according to being a criminal. This young man, Trayvon, was not after doing nothing wrong. So to me, who was the real thug and the coward for even messing with this young 17-year-old man? That's like me going on the block right now to start something with a 17-year-old. I'm going to see if he can still fight. I'm going to see if I still got it. What in the world do I got going on the block? I see suspicious stuff all the time. People that look suspicious all the time. You know what I do? Keep on going. Because I'm not judging people by their outer appearance. And the sad thing is, when you're running up on folks nowadays, you can get killed. I see a lot of fights going on. Sometimes I want to break them up, and then I be like, no, I'm going to leave them alone. Because I might try to go break it up. I might be the one to get shot. Y'all, I'm keeping it real in this video. That's why I want to tie this in with Tupac. See, Tupac had meanings for everything he did and said. Most people who rap or would listen to his stuff would be like, they just listening to how it sound. Man, that's tight right there. I'm about to steal that beat, but boy, listen to what he said right there. You heard what he said, but did you comprehend it? Songs like Dear Mama. Songs like Changes. Songs like Brenda Got a Baby. You got to catch what Tupac was really saying in his songs. His heart was poured out in those songs. But so many people just, man, that sound gangster. Man, yeah, that nigga Tupac lived that thug life. Tupac was way deeper than people thought he was. I still to this day listen to my favorite Tupac songs. And I got a bunch of them. See, I ain't too religious. I don't have religion in me. I got relationship. I'm spiritual. I don't care what all these religious folks saying. I listen to whatever I want to listen to. It don't corrupt my mind. It don't make me want to go out here and murder somebody. It don't make me want to go screw somebody. I had them thoughts in my mind without music. Let me leave that alone. That's too real for folks. If we could just learn, if we would just listen sometime. Oh, it sound good. Let's flip this to the church side. Just like a preacher, he can hoop and holler. He can pray. He can sing. He can sound good. A preacher can sound good, preach good, but could be terrible. Not even following God. A singer can sing and sing good and don't even have no anointing. A person can pray and sound good, use all type of big words, and can be so far away from Christ. So the question is, once again, how's your heart behind what you're doing? What's your meaning? Tupac had a meaning. Nowadays, you got people hustling for what? How's your heart? Tupac had a beautiful heart, and he loved people. See, when it comes down to it, black people, I just hate to say this, but we're going to always be stereotyped. We're going to always be looked down on. We're going to always have some person on the elevator grab their purse, white or something, move to the other side. Somebody always think we're going to steal or rob this. And the sad thing is, a lot of us going to keep doing it. But not all of us are like that. So you just got to understand, in this life, this is the world we live in. Suck it up. Deal with it. I know it's not pretty. But because the color of our skin, a lot of times we're going to be looked down on. It's just the way it is. You can riot, you can protest, you can complain, you can go get the NAACP, you can cry, you can do all of this stuff, and at the end of the day, we still going to be looked down on by a lot of people, but not all people. So this real talk video, y'all, coming from the heart. A lot of people don't understand me because they don't understand my heart. I learned more from Tupac than I learned from half of these preachers. I learned more from Steve Harvey than I learned from half of these preachers. See, I listen at people. I don't agree with everything a lot of people say, but that don't stop me from listening at the truth. I don't care who you are. If you're a gangster and you're telling the truth, I can recognize the truth. Even if you're a fake preacher, I can recognize the truth that comes out of your mouth. That don't mean I gotta always agree with you and like what you do, but I can hear truth. And I have heard a lot of truth in a lot of rappers, football players, basketball players, comedians, actors, celebrities, you name it. Truth is truth. Don't matter who's saying it, truth is truth. Now, whether you can live the truth or not, that's you. So when I look again at this definition of thug, a lot of people didn't catch this about Tupac. This is why he said he didn't choose the thug life. It chose him. He was born into a bunch of mess. Like I say, mama was on crack. You know what he said about his father. He had a lot of anger. And you can sit around all day and say he could have chose to do something else. If you ain't never grew up in them times and rough, surrounded by violence, your own mama on crack, you can't really say nothing to somebody that let me be real, y'all. It's hard to relate to somebody and say I feel you if you ain't never went through what they went through. That's why I say once again, I'm patient with people and I let them come to me the way they are. Tupac was looking for love. Even in Changes, he said, in Changes, I wake up in the morning and I ask myself, is life worth living or should I blast myself? I wake up in the morning and I ask myself, is life worth living or should I blast myself? Do that sound like he was gangster? Or do that sound like he had a hard time living? These youngsters nowadays, they don't care whether they live or die. They'll give their life on the streets and won't think twice about it. I see all these little cats on the street now. Yeah, nigga, I'm a thug, JT. You better respect me, man. I'm that little nigga, I'm little D from up the street. I'm a hood, I'm gangster. This is how they are. I don't want a nigga to test me. I'm about to go over to somebody else's hood and charge them up. I ain't scared to go over somebody else's hood and sell dope. They don't even have a purpose to live right now. And Tupac helped a lot of these cats get off the street. So whether you agree with his mouth, what he was saying, or all of this stuff, and you want to walk around here with this thug stuff, look at his definition of thug. Now let me tell you my definition of thug as I close. Some of y'all already know when I say THUG, I always tell a youngster, change what you're doing and just do it for the Lord. You can continue to keep your title thug, THUG. Now my definition of thug is true hero under God. To me, King David was a thug for the Lord. Moses was a thug for the Lord. All those who followed God and stood bold. When David took out Goliath, when nobody else out there standing around would, David, he was a thug. He was a true hero under God. So you can keep thugging, youngsters, but just change your thugging as Paul, when he was Saul, he to me was a thug. Now let me say that right. When he was lost, he was wild, he was out there, he was persecuting Christians. But now I can say Paul, when he was converted over, he's a THUG, he's a thug for the Lord. He was a true hero under God, because only God can take that man, convert him over, change his ways when he thought what he was doing was right. A lot of these youngsters, they think what they doing is right. And when you think what you're doing is right and you ignorant, that's what ignorance simply is not knowing. But when you know better, you should do better. See, if you know better, then now you being stupid. Y'all feel me? So in other words, as I close, Tupac was saying, all I'm saying to do is survive and make good out of the dirty, nasty, unbelievable lifestyle that they gave me. That's all Pac was saying. Thug life. And he was referring back to an infant. That's why when there's no daddies around, it's jacked up. Thug life. Once again, as I close, Thug Life stood for the hate you give, little efforts, fucks everybody. Now I'm gonna go ahead and close now. Some of y'all mad at me and done told me I ain't gonna see heaven now because I done said the word fuck. So hey, you know, go ahead and judge me. I don't answer to mankind once again. And if somebody has been helped, to God be the glory. Whether you agree with what I said or not, that's your business. Some gonna understand this video, some is not. So to my youngsters, I hope a lot of y'all gangsters and thugs have saw this video. And once again, you don't have to stay the way you are. You can change. If all of us can be brought out the hood and do good, you can too. Don't think because you might think you so worse than everybody else, or your past, or your mom and dad was so messed up, you can still do greater things. It ain't where you came from. It's about where you're going. You're not held accountable for where you came from, but you will be held accountable, and you are responsible for where you end up at. Peace.